All right, Katie, thank you. After last year's brutal attack, New York Governor George Pataki called for a complete evaluation of the current security measures for New York State. Then he wanted them improved. He turned to James Kallstrom, the former FBI agent in charge of New York City. James Kallstrom, good morning. Always good to have you here.
Good morning, Matt.
But before I talk about what you've learned in the last several months, let me ask you about the state of alert we are under today, the second highest state of alert. Have you heard any information here in New York State that makes you concerned?
Well, as we reflect on the great loss of a year ago, Matt, it's good to remind everybody we are at war. I mean, it's as serious as World War II, as serious as the Cold War. There's no specific information relative to New York, but Al-Qaeda is operational worldwide. The prudent thing to do, because of some of the intelligence that's been collected recently and as recent as yesterday, was to move to a new level of alert.
And as we are in that new level of alert, have you taken specific actions to upgrade security for this particular day?
Well, the city has been at orange alert for a number of months now, and pretty much is maxed out from a security standpoint. The state now, yesterday, moved to that new level of alert. We trained for that. We programmed ourselves for that, so we moved to that yesterday.
When you took this job, you looked at the entire system of security in New York State, and you made, I believe, about 100 recommendations to the governor. What's your number one recommendation? What needs to be changed most?
The most important thing, the governor's provided great leadership on this point, is to stop the next attack. I think the two important things there are intelligence and equipping state and local law enforcement with better, relevant information, education, and access to information in Washington.
When you talk about stopping the attacks, though, isn't one of the lessons we learned from September 11th that a trained terrorist who is willing to give up his or her own life in committing an act of terror is very difficult to stop?
Matt, it's very, very difficult, but we're never going to stop trying to stop it. I mean, we're always going to go to the max to try to stop that thing, and we can do it. We're better than they are. We can do it, and we're determined to do it.
One of the recommendations you made is you want mandatory criminal background checks for anyone who's going to be working at an airport. Will we see that happen?
Well, we think that's really something that needs to happen. I mean, when you go through security at the airports, the people on the other side, and I'm sure 99.99 or maybe 100% of them close to that are great people that are just there for a job. But we don't know who they are. They're not subject to background investigations. We don't know who's working in the sterile area at the airports, and that needs to change.
And as you talk about gathering intelligence, and that's so important, as you just said, are we doing enough? Are we concentrating in the right areas to get the kind of intelligence we need to prevent a future 9/11?
Well, you know, in the last 20 years, we've created a very risk-adverse intelligence agency, the FBI, law enforcement. We need to change that. These agencies run on their jet fuel is morale. You know, we need to get out of this zero defects mentality, and we're doing that. And we need to work much closer together. We need to have better intelligence around the world, and we're moving there. It takes a while to get there, but we're on our way.
You were in charge of the FBI in New York City in 1993 when the World Trade Center was bombed. The buildings, of course, stood, as we all know then. Did we do enough to take Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda and the threat of terror attacks here in New York City seriously enough between 1993 and 2001?
Well, there were a number of people that took it very seriously, but I think collectively as a nation, we didn't take it seriously enough, and there's enough blame to go around on that. But certainly this war has been going on at least since '93. I mean, look at the events of the Trade Center, the Manila Air conspiracy to blow up airliners, the Blind Shake conspiracy to blow up the tunnels in the UN and the FBI building, the embassy bombings, the bombings in Saudi Arabia barracks, and the USS Cole. So this war has been going on for a long time, Matt.
James Kallstrom, always good to have you here.
Nice to be with you.
It's 10 after the hour. Here's Katie.